Okay, here are a couple of more examples of categories for logical fallacies, and both of these are based on historical metaphors. One is called jumping the bandwagon. And believe it or not, this goes way back to political campaigns that happened even before there were newspapers, certainly before there were television stations and radio stations, where to run for an election, a person had to go from town to town to town and try to get up in the town square and make a speech and convince people to vote for him. And one very clever politician discovered that if you came into the town square and had a band on a wagon, that people would hear the sound and come out and listen to the speech. And then as the wagon went off to the next town, the children would follow behind and jump on the wagon because they were all excited. They wanted to jump on the bandwagon. Okay, everybody's doing it, so I want to do it too. Another version of that is called groupthink, and I'm sure you've seen examples of this. When you were a kid and you went to your mom and said, "Ma, everybody else is jumping off the cliff into the river, I want to do it too." Or, "Ma, everybody else is smoking, so I want to try it too." That's jumping the bandwagon, and that's groupthink, and it's a bad form of argument. It's a logical fallacy. Everybody else is doing it. I want to do it too. You should do it too. There's another one based on a metaphor called a red herring. And this is another historical metaphor. Back in the day, when people used to train their dogs to go hunting, they would take a stinky dead fish and drag it down a trail, and then they trained the dog to chase after the scent. And also, when slaves tried to escape from their owners, there's legend that says that one way of diverting the dogs off of the path, dogs were sent to try to catch the slave. The person who was running away from the slave owner would take a dead fish and drag it off the trail, and the dogs would run off the trail. How does this relate to logical fallacies? Well, a red herring is when somebody is arguing about something, but they don't stay on the subject. They just veer off onto another subject. Makes you think that they're arguing about the same subject, but they really aren't. I'll give you one example. Let's say you're a newspaper reporter and you're interviewing a politician, and you say, "Well, Senator Smith, I'd like to hear your position on taxes." And the senator starts saying, "Well, taxes keep going up and up and up, and one reason is because of immigrants. They're all coming over here from other countries, and we have to pay for everything. We have to pay for their health care, and we have to pay for their education, and we really need to protect our borders." Suddenly, the argument goes to protecting our borders as opposed to taxes. And so I think that that's a classic example. And of course, all of these logical fallacies, if you want to hear somebody using a logical fallacy, it's very easy to hear examples of it. Just dial up your news source that you read every day and listen to what the politicians have to say, or turn on talk radio. I can guarantee you won't be listening to talk radio for more than 5 minutes without hearing somebody using one of these logical fallacies.